Hey, what's going on, everybody out there? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see from the title, well, not really the title, but as you can see from the name of the channel, we changed it up a little bit, and now it's Veteran Influencers. However, we'll still be doing fitness videos and just different ventures as well. I'm trying to expand the brand a little bit. I'm not really trying to change it because, like I said, I'll still be doing fitness videos, but I wanted to expand to a different, I guess you say, a different area, because I want to do like the whole podcasting. As you can see, like the setup and whatnot. I got like the different programs on the computer. Obviously I showed you guys a couple of videos ago. I got the new mic. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. I want to have like a big impact on the lives of veterans as well. So I wanted to tie that in there with like actually doing, my whole fitness thing as well. So, that's why I named it Veteran Influencers. And then you can go to Veteran Influencers for Instagram, type in Veteran Influencers for Facebook, and it's all the same brand. So like I said, I'm trying to kind of put everything as Veteran Influencers, same thing as on Twitter. And I'm just learning how to use Twitter actually. But if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I think the last time that I did a video was maybe three weeks ago or so. It's just been a little bit difficult trying to work and do videos, and I got a couple other ventures that hopefully in the future you guys get to see, in the near future that is. But it's just I've been kind of getting wore out doing that, so I want to make my way back to doing the whole YouTube thing as well. So it just takes a little bit of time, and thank you guys for being patient with me. But as you can tell by the title, today I wanted to go over a few different parts about leadership, and I have a few notes that I'm going to be going off of, so I'll be using on my notepad here. So, and I guess you could say that the reason why this whole subject got sprung up for me is, I've been in the military 15 years, Marine Corps, and I've seen all different types of leaders throughout the time I've been there, and I've just been kind of exposing myself to kind of observing the different leadership styles that are in the civilian world as well. Just going to the movies or, going to the mall, the stores, and just watching how they interact with each other, how they directly influence the, customers, or how they service customers, just little things like that. And just talking to employees and asking about their boss. Like, what do you think of them? Or like, do you enjoy working for them? Or do you like the way they, do things on a day-to-day basis? Kind of like how they handle situations. So I kind of want to use that to kind of tie in with the whole point. But I want to kind of tie it in with the military and use the comparison to the civilian world as well. So here we are. Leadership. So if you can do me a favor, like I said, we got the new channel brand. We're trying to expand it. I'm gonna try to do some more videos a little bit more often. And 1 second. So I want to, like I said, I want to do videos a little bit more often. And I want to do like a little bit more of the podcast style, just like this. Like I said, I'll still do the fitness videos, but I want to do a little bit more like this, kind of like the real talk segments. But if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you get all the videos, and hit that notification so that they come to you. And then also the thumbs up is going to help it to reach a wider array of people so everybody sees the video. So here we go, leadership. So the first point I wanted to start with is military versus civilian leadership. And, I know a lot of you that are in the military, you kind of you're probably already thinking like, duh, I already know all this, I mean, because you can just see it, from most of you guys have had jobs prior to joining the military. So you've already kind of had a taste of like what the civilian leadership was like before you joined. And then for those of you that have gotten out, have already, rejoined the workforce, so you got a chance to see, what it looks like again. So, but for those of you that don't really understand like the similarities and differences, I would say with the military, I think there's just like more structure, and I think people care about each other a little bit more, if that makes sense. Um, it's you can tell there's more of the investment type mentality in the military than it is in the civilian world. They want to make sure that everybody, moves up. They want to make sure that everybody learns every task so that we're all, equally efficient. It seems like the civilian world's not necessarily like that. They want you to do a specific thing, and it's not that they don't mind you. It's not that they mind you doing more, but they want you to focus on a specific thing because they have people that are hired for specific reasons. In the military, at least in the Marine Corps, when I say military, I'm speaking for the Marine Corps specifically. If you're in the Army, Air Force, or the Navy, go and comment down in the comment section down below if you either agree or disagree with what I'm saying, and then let me know why so I can see the difference. So I can see the differences between the different branches, or at least the difference between my experience and your experience. But I would say, like I said, there's more structure. I feel people are looking more for. I think it's set up more for you to move up. In the military, where in the civilian world, it's like I said, you got hired for a specific reason, and it's like they don't want you to do too much other than that. I feel like there's more opportunities to move up in the military than there is in the civilian world. Obviously, in the military, you get paid salary essentially. You get your raise with promotions. You get your raise with the cost of living that goes up. You get money for uniform allowance, and then they also give you money for housing allowance. Obviously depends on if you rate it or not. And, those things don't happen in the civilian world. So, I've noticed that as a civilian, like a lot more business types give you minimum wage. And I think right now in Arizona, the minimum wage is like maybe $11, 11 something. And I feel like, just talking to a lot of people that, that are involved in the workforce, I just feel like a lot more people get that minimum wage, even on jobs where it's like jobs and positions where it's like, yeah, I could see this, getting at least $15 to $16 an hour, but, they'll still give you like that $11 an hour type thing. I would say there's more opportunities to move up. And I would say that the leadership definitely has a big influence on that. For instance, good leadership in the military can lead to a meritorious promotion, meaning, so every rank in the military, you have certain requirements that you have to meet, whether you have to get certain points through like rifle range, physical fitness test, and different things as such, maybe off-duty education. But instead of having those requirements, it's more so of if your chain of command feels that you're ready to be promoted like ahead of your peers, or just like a promotion outside of that particular system, they take a look at your book, meaning everything that you've done so far, and they put you on a board to where you go in front of people and you're essentially presenting yourself. It's like an interview almost, like, hey, why should we give you this promotion, to move up the next rank and to get paid more. So other aspects of leadership, I would say some similarities between the military and the civilian world. I mean, it's hit or miss. Not every place is the same. So when I'm saying these things, it's just things that I've observed myself. But I would say that in the military, there's a lot of micromanaging as well, depending on where you go. But for the most part, the structure of the military is set up for small unit leadership. So, you have an 18, 19-year-old kid, as they say, I would say on average has more responsibility and more leeway to lead how they want than an 18 or 19-year-old civilian that's like working, that's working a regular job in the civilian world. So I would say leadership structure-wise that the military is better. And not only that, but because of the discipline factor and almost like you have to listen type thing, it makes it a little bit easier when you tell somebody that's a lower rank than you to do something. I feel like in the military, they're more compliant than they are in the civilian world. Like, I would say the other factor to that is more so that at any point they can quit. Whether you put in your 2 weeks or, whether you just leave on the spot or just not show up the next day. I think all those things kind of like lead to it, to where in the military you have to. It's more of an investment than being a civilian because, like I said, you can just leave at any time. So, um, I would say also in the military, the military prides themselves on leadership. And I would say most leaders don't consider themselves a boss. I would say observing in the civilian sector that most owners, people that are in charge in high positions, consider themselves more of a boss. The do what I tell you to do. I don't want you to think outside your bubble type thing, and just you know, and just do it how I want you to do it type of thing with no leeway, right? So I would say in that sense, military leadership is like better. It's like easier for me to work under than it is from the civilian jobs that I've observed. Um, and for those of you that have actually had to deal with that, like I would definitely like to hear about your experiences. If you've been in the military, you've gotten out, or you've been in the military and maybe you worked a second job or something like that, I would like to hear your different like opinions on this particular matter because I think it's going to help to drive the conversation. And like the next time we do a follow up on like a leadership topic, I would love to kind of like retouch on that subject to kind of like give people a broader view of what I'm talking about. So also, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. Definitely help me out. So I would say those are some of the. Okay, here we go. One last one. So as far as leadership, I would say also the military is more of a lead from the front type mentality than it is in the civilian world. So what I mean by that is, I would say definitely our officers and our staff and COs definitely, for the most part, make it a point to, if they're going to tell you to be somewhere, they're going to be there too. If they're going to tell you to do something, they're willing to do it too, or they've already done it. And like if they need you to come in early or something like that, for the most part, they're going to be there right there with you. If they're going to make you stay late and, let's say you missed the chow hall or something like that and, you're not able to get food, they're probably going to buy food for you. At least a good leader will. And I would say for the most part, that's what I've noticed throughout my time in the military. So I don't really see that happening in the civilian world. I could be wrong. So like I said, hey, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section down below. But just from what I've observed, I don't see that. I don't see that type of personality. I feel like more people are worried about themselves than they are worried about other people. See me, I'm the type of person that I like to see other people succeed probably more than I like to see myself succeed. So so like I said, those are definitely some differences for me as far as military versus civilian. All right, part 2 of our conversation dealing with leadership. Welcome back. Like I said, if you haven't already hit that thumbs up, go and hit that thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications. Make sure you get all notifications about leadership and about all other videos that we put on the channel. If you're just joining us, I mentioned in the first part of this series that I switched the name from, it was like Handstand Chris Mac Lev 10 to Veteran Influencers. So that's kind of like my brand right now. So I got Veteran Influencers on YouTube. I got it on Instagram. I got it on Twitter, Facebook. So make sure you go join those pages as well. And, when I think of Veteran Influencers, well, first of all, let me know in the comment section down below what you all think when you hear Veteran Influencers. Like, what is it that comes to your mind? But the reason why I wanted to have a brand of Veteran Influencers, because obviously I'm a veteran, but like also I like to focus on the veterans that have served and that are currently serving now, because I just feel like we can offer more to the world than just military service. A lot of us get out, and I feel like the jobs aren't always as available as we would like or as available as we think while we're actually in the military before getting out. And I want to do something that's going to actually impact that whole idea. So I created Veteran Influencers, to have that impact, to create a lane for other veterans that are either struggling or, that will be, getting out of the military and they would like something to fall back on. So, all right. So for the second part that on this whole leadership topic that we're talking about, I want to go over toxic leadership and then over its effects. So in the military, I've seen a lot of toxic leaders, and I guess you could say the effects of toxic leadership is, I think that's a lot of the times what drives people to get out, because I've seen so many good Marines that have just gotten out of the military because of toxic leadership. And what I mean by toxic leadership, I mean, let's say like, you got screwed over in your life, or you're having personal problems and you decide to take it out on your Marines. Well, that's obviously going to affect the morale of especially those specific people, because it's like they didn't do anything. It's just you're having problems, and now you want to take it out on somebody else. To me, that's extremely low. You're taking advantage of a position that you're in, and to make somebody else feel bad, or to make yourself feel better by making somebody else feel bad. And and I don't think there's any room for that in the military. I don't think there's any room for that anywhere. But just for the record, I don't think there's any room for that anywhere. However, I've just seen it so many times in the military, and I just think that, that whole aspect needs to go away. Like I said, the effects of that are people want to get out. People have a bad taste in their mouth about the military. Then you start thinking of, mental problems that come from it. People going into depression because of it. And it's extremely frustrating when you have toxic leadership. It's like, especially when you come from like that good command, you get a command that's like, oh man, I love this command. I love everything about it. You got a good CO, a good sergeant major, and the environment was amazing. And then you go to this next unit where it's just like you're miserable every day. Just miserable. The time goes by slow. You feel like it's a job as opposed to something you actually love to do. And, I just don't feel like anybody should have to go through that, whether they don't like a specific thing, like let's say they're not really that much in shape, and they don't like people that work out. Maybe you can't work out during the day instead, and they make you do it like, after work, and you keep getting out late. So now it's like, it's cutting into your sleeping time. So now the next day you're showing up and you're all tired because you got to stay up late. Little things like that, or they just mess with you a lot. Make you field day 500 times, and now you're staying up till midnight cleaning your room. Like things like that. I've seen that throughout the time that I've been in the military. And all those things, it just forces you to have a bitter taste about the military. But even though that maybe like out of 100%, that's maybe like 20% of the Marine Corps, that other 80%, is pretty damn great. But, sometimes the toxic tends to overshadow like all the good things that, a service or person can actually offer. So, I mean, and to me, that's why toxic leadership, it just has no place anywhere, because it makes you not even want to apply yourself more. Like, if you treat your people with respect, you don't belittle them, especially in front of like other Marines, and you take the time to enable them. Like if they're in a position of authority, you take the time to, treat them as such. They're gonna work harder for you than they ever would as if you're just barking orders at them. So it's just something to think about. Like I said, that's just my opinion. So if you have a different opinion, or if you have the same opinion, you share that one with me. Please leave it down in the comment section down below. I read every comment. I reply to every comment, and I'm really looking forward to seeing like the different like perspectives on this specific subject. So, with this part 2, we went over toxic leadership in the military, and I mean you can imagine that that carries on to the civilian world as well. Because I know there's toxic leadership to where, people will only do things if it benefits them, or they'll take credit for something that they really didn't do, right? I've seen in the military people getting awards for things they didn't do, right? And they think there's nothing wrong with it. And all that toxic type behavior, it makes you feel a certain way, right? And I've seen like really great Marines just slowly tend to dwindle down because that toxic leadership just tends to take them over. Um, so yeah, so with this one, that's pretty much why I'm saying that toxic leadership has no place in the civilian world and definitely doesn't have a place in the military. All right, all right, all right. Welcome back, everyone. So, if you missed our last two parts on leadership, we spoke about military versus civilian leadership, and we did similarities and differences, and we also spoke about toxic leadership. That one was mostly in the toxic leadership in the military, but like I said toward the end of that video, it's like really it can kind of go either way to where, a lot of the similar toxic type mentality that's in the military is generally the same as in the civilian world. Obviously we have different structure and different rules in the military than you do being a civilian, but toxic is toxic, so and there's toxic leaders everywhere. Some of the civilians that are toxic were toxic when they're in the military as well. So for part 3, I wanted to speak about micromanagement. But before that, if you haven't already hit that thumbs up button, go and hit the thumbs up button. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you get all notifications for videos. And if this is the first part of the series that you're actually catching, I'll leave a link in the description down below for the other parts of this specific series. And like I said, leave a comment down below if like anything resonates to you, or you're like, oh wow, that's completely true. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Like I said, I read every comment, I reply to every comment, and I really look forward to seeing like you guys' point of view on these specific subjects. All right, so here we go. Micromanagement. So, one second. So the reason why I wanted to hit on micromanagement is, let's start with the military. It's when you micromanage someone and the structure of the military is, I'm not going to say it's built around small unit leadership, but it pretty much is. The foundation of military leadership is small unit leadership. Leadership at the smallest position. When you micromanage someone that's been, in charge of, at least minimal tasks, and then you increase as you move up in rank and position. When you tend to micromanage, it almost makes people not want to be proactive and just wait around for you to tell them what to do. Most of the time, those that are micromanaged, they get told how to do something, what to do, when to do it. And I've been in that position to being in the military to where micromanagement was a factor. And, just coming from my experience, just being micromanaged, it just, like I said, it's frustrating. It doesn't make you feel like you're competent. And it makes you feel that your leadership doesn't have trust in you. So it kind of makes you not want to do extra. With that being said, there's a difference between being micromanaged and someone looking out for you as far as like helping you. I believe that you can give people tips and like be there to make sure they don't fall on their face and say, hey, don't forget about this. I don't think that's micromanagement. I don't think that is. I think that's just, what I talked about earlier about the military just having more of an investment in you, and they want to make sure you don't fail. The military does not like for you to fail. Now, they'll put you in positions to where it's like, you could sink or swim because you're being evaluated. They're testing you to see where you're at. But the military, for the most part, is big on, succeeding. They want you to succeed. They want to put you in positions to where you can be successful. And, sometimes that does come across as micromanagement. And sometimes that's exactly what it is. It's them micromanaging you. Now, I would say some people don't do it on purpose. Maybe that's like something they're used to doing, or maybe it happened to them. So they're like, okay, I'm going to do it too. But some people, they do it because it makes, some people don't like to give up certain positions. Like for instance, if let's say, let's say you're the physical trainer for the for the platoon, right? But now it's like somebody else is coming up and they're either hungry and they're like, yeah, I want to be this guy that's in charge of all the physical fitness, but you don't want to let that billet go because you're known for that and it makes you look good. So I've noticed, that can be a factor as well, as far as like micromanaging, to where someone just wants to take the credit for it. So that, they continue to work the program as opposed to just allowing you to be the primary for that particular one. Also for micromanagement, it's like some people just honestly don't know how to let it go, or they don't know what else to do. Like with the military, there's a few ranks where you make a pretty big jump as far as like billet and position. So some people don't understand what that next rank actually is expects them to be. So they tend to just resort back to what they know. And I would take that more than someone that's doing it on purpose, because you could work with that. You could teach that person, what is it that I'm supposed to do for the next rank or the next actual position. But just all in all, micromanagement, just having someone there breathing down your neck, it just makes you uncomfortable. It makes you like not be excited to want to do a specific job, I would say as far as micromanagement for like the civilian world, there's definitely bosses that do it too. And I would say, I don't know if I would say to their defense, but a lot of the times like owners, that's essentially that business is going to make or break whether they, feed their family, or, if the business is successful or it's not, turning a specific amount for profit, then that's when wages get cut. That's when labor gets cut. That's when supplies get cut. So all these things play a factor. So I'm empathetic to it, that whole situation. But at the same time, I'm a firm believer that in order for your, the people that you've hired, your employees, to fully reach that max potential, you have to allow them to fail. You have to put them in a position to where they can either sink or swim. And then you observe them. And then, you give them tips along the way. But you don't need to be there breathing down their neck all the time, because it's not going to motivate them. You don't need to be there taking over when they say something and you saying, no, we're not going to do it like that. That doesn't benefit them. It doesn't help them grow whatsoever. So as far as for leadership, overall between the military and civilian, micromanagement in general has like a lot of similarities. I would say there's probably a lot more expectations of people that are in charge of you in the military, right? You got people that are higher rank. You got people that are higher billet. You got people that are, that you're assisting as far as maybe you're helping out another work center or something like that, or even helping out another branch of the military, right? They may not be higher ranking than you, and really they might not even be a higher billet than you. But you kind of have to follow their lead because they're the one that's in charge, per se. That makes sense? But all in all, I would say one of the greatest traits of leadership is being humble. And what I say by that is I've noticed a lot of leaders that fail to achieve, I'm not going to say achieve, you can't achieve leadership, but that fail to become the leader that they believe that they should, is being humble. Like a lot of people reach a specific rank or billet and they think they're better than the people that are underneath them, or they have that mentality of these people are my workers. I never say that because I don't think that.